right, here we go now, baby. Week 4 Monday Night Football doubleheader. Kind of a doubleheader, I guess. They're overlapping the games. I hate when they do that, but it is what it is. Not the sexiest looking games, but some very sexy looking betting opportunities. Joe and Jingles with you with our 8 total best bets for the 2 games. Before we get into those, make sure you hit that like button and that subscribe button right down there. A lot of great content to be found here on the Covers YouTube channel. Now then, let us get right into the action. We're going to start things off down there in South Florida. The Dolphins hosting the Jets, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the Dolphins to get their first win of the season and cover the spread -2.5. So first of all, the game situation massively favors the Dolphins here. Just a massive rest advantage for them. They haven't played since last Thursday. It's also still the time of the season where playing in Miami is a home field advantage for the Dolphins due to the heat and humidity down there in South Florida. Also, the second straight road game for the Jets, and also maybe some continuity issues at the quarterback position. Yes, Justin Fields is back, but him and Tyrod Taylor play musical chairs there through the first couple of games, so some advantages that will work for Miami. Now, I know the Dolphins, they're very easy to make fun of. You see the goddamn helmet in the background. I'm a Dolphins fan. It is not easy, but still some advantages for them, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Number 1 in third down conversion percentage so far to the season. Number 4 in the red zone. Number 4 in yards per rush attempt on the offensive side of the ball for the Jets. 24th in yards per play. And I do think that the Dolphins on the defensive side of the ball, they did show a little bit of grit in that game against the Buffalo Bills. They were able to get some tough stops on third down in a tough environment. Don't buy into the narrative that they're quitting on the coach. I thought McDaniel called a great game in Buffalo there in week 3, Thursday Night Football. Still early in the season. These are professional athletes. Incentives in their contracts. A lot of pending free agents on the time. A lot of pride for the guys here as well. Dolphins have won 9 straight home games against the Jets. Look for them to make it 10. Dolphins -2.5. Okay, Jingles, you have a touchdown score for the Dolphins. Who are you taking?
Let's keep piling on the Dolphins. Ollie Gordon for a touchdown. At what price? +300. A great number for a running back, red zone guy who is a near field goal favorite in this game. Gordon had 4 of 6 red zone carries last week versus the Bills, and he was featured on that first drive. He totaled 4 carries from the 21-yard line and in. Gordon is red zone back with A-Chain handling work between the 20s. I'm not sold on this Miami offense. That's okay. But the New York Jets defense isn't anything great either. They're giving up over 30 points a game. They rank 28th in EPA per play, but 9th in success rate. Put that together. What does that mean? That's a defense that gives up explosive plays. Jets also without edge, Jermaine Johnson. Jalen Wright was back, and that's another big thing. Jalen Wright was back last week, but it was Gordon who got the goal line work, and +300 is a big game in an easy matchup versus the Jets. Let's go big back, and it's something that Miami hasn't had, so they're going to feature it.
Yeah, I hope he gets in a couple of times because I'm taking the full game over in this one. The total set at 44.5. So I think people think Jets football, defense, low scoring. That has not been the case here, especially this season. Through 3 games here, average combined score in their games, 54 points. Their opponent has scored at least 29 in all 3 of their games. Average combined score in Dolphins games, 51 points. Their opponent has scored at least 31 points in each of their games. Jets have gone over in 8 of their last 10 games going back to last season. Dolphins have gone over in 7 straight home games. I do think this game sets up very nicely for Tua to have his best game of the season here. He threw for 331 against the Jets last season. The Dolphins have scored at least 30 points into his last 3 starts against the Jets. The Jets also have the second lowest pressure percentage in the NFL, so I do think that could take some heat off. Jets are also tied for the second most pass plays at 20-plus yards allowed, so I think that could allow a lot of big plays here for the Dolphins. And yes, the Dolphins defense did get some key stops against the Bills there last week, but you got to pull back and check out the numbers here. They've been really bad. Dead last in opponent completion percentage, 29th in yards per play allowed, 31st on third down. Give me the over in Miami. Okay, another prop for this game. Who you taking?
Let's fade this Miami secondary that just week after week continues to get more injured. Garrett Wilson over 60.5 receiving yards, -115. This secondary is absolutely gutted. Cluster injuries, 6 DBs are out or on the IR right now. And this is a roster that's going to have to elevate 2 guys from the practice squad on Monday afternoon for this game and is currently being filled by legit XFL players. It's just a spot to pick. Who do you want? Let's just go big name here. And Garrett Wilson, Justin Fields back. Wilson went 795-1 in week 1 with Fields versus the Steelers on 9 targets with a long of 33. It's not a crazy handicap. Let's just find and pick on this clustered injured defense in Miami that's been bad, as you know, Joe, from week 1 on. And there's multiple paths here that Garrett Wilson can get it. He can get it on volume. He can get, it's not the heaviest passing offense, but he has a 39% target share. So when they do pass, it's usually going to him, or he can get it on a big play because the Dolphins ranking dead last in EPA per play and a 29th in explosive play percentage. So lots of pass for Garrett Wilson to go over this number in a game that should be pretty neutral, I'm assuming, in the game script.
Okay, I feel like I make this bet every week, probably because I do. I'm going to go right back to the well and take Breece Hall to go over his receiving yard total, 21.5 yards. So it's kind of weird that a running back is second on a team about targets and receiving yards through 3 games. But here we are with the New York Jets. I'm going to look to take full advantage here. So he's already gotten into the 30s twice in 3 games this season. And I do love this spot at this number because Hall was often in the high 20s last season. Don't be surprised if a couple of weeks from now, that's where he's at. And of course, the opponent, the Dolphins, are getting killed through the air against opposing running backs, allowing an average of 54.6 receiving yards per game to RBs. Okay, on to game number 2. We're aligned with the spread pick. Tell us who you're taking.
Denver on the other side of 7, -7.5. Let's go. The Bengals O-line is collapsing. The run game is lifeless, and their defense can't stop the run. This is a classic bully spot. Denver should dominate both sides of the ball early and often in this game. Cincy just got embarrassed by Minnesota and Carson Wentz in week 3. And we're recording this during the Ireland game. And yes, Minnesota's coming back, but Carson Wentz and that offense haven't looked very good. He's been absolutely dominated in the pass rush. So Cincinnati might be a little worse than what we think. On top of that, Jake Browning might be the worst quarterback in football right now. 4 sacks, 5 interceptions in just 6+ quarters since Joe Burrow has gone down. The Denver D-line, first in pressure rate, facing the worst O-line in pressure rate, in pass block rate. It also doesn't feel like a spot if we're on the other side of 7, this doesn't feel like a spot where Jake Browning's leading a backdoor cover. So from a market perspective, I think there's room for Denver to go up and still room for Cincinnati to go down. So I'll take the 7.5.
All right, Jingles, we are aligned on this one. I too will take the Denver Broncos to cover the spread as a 7.5 point favorite. So let's call it what it is. With Joe Burrow, the Cincinnati Bengals are an average, at best, top-heavy team with a lot of holes. Without him, they are quite simply one of the worst teams in the NFL with even more holes, and probably one of the worst coach teams as well. Zach Taylor, an absolute disaster without Joe Burrow. Their offense is 31st in yards per play. Their offensive line is allowing the second most pressure. The Broncos defense is generating the 4th most pressure here this season. I do like the home field advantage here for Denver as well. This is a team that typically doesn't play down to the competition. 8-0 against the spread as a favorite last season. Now, let's be fair, not up to a great start this year, but, pull back a little bit. They should have beat the Colts in week 2. We all know what happened on the penalty with the field goal. Down to the wire against the Chargers. Lost the game. They did win the yards per play battle in that one. Real desperation spot for the Broncos. They got the Eagles on deck in Philadelphia next week, so I think they clean some things up and they kick some ass with the disgrace that is the Cincinnati Bengals in town. Okay. Bring it home for us. You got a prop for this game. What are you looking at?
It is interesting, Joe, that we do have the 2 early season betting angles of altitude, teams going to altitude, and teams going to the Heat in Miami on Monday night. But let's go wide receiver 2, a price over +200, and that's Troy Franklin for a touchdown at +245. Last week's game was quiet, but it came against a strong Chargers secondary. This week's home matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals is much more favorable. Carson Wentz, who is struggling to close out the game in Ireland right now, looked very good last week in an absolute blowout versus this team. He went 14 for 20, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and he's been sacked into oblivion today versus Pittsburgh. So things are not going to be great for this Cincinnati defense. They made Carson Wentz look good. I know Bo Nix hasn't been great, but it's a big step up, that's for sure. Cortland Sutton's obviously the number one option here, but Troy Franklin is getting 24% targets on his routes, 90% share on those routes too. And he leads all Denver pass catchers in red zone targets with 4. So kind of just looking at a game where I think Denver puts up a lot of points, trying to find the best value, getting a wide receiver too in a game where I think Denver dominates at better than plus 200. That's where I'm with Franklin, who I've had circled since week 2. And I think this is the spot I like him at.
Okay, that does it for our best bets for the 2 Monday night football games. Enjoy the action on Monday night. Best of luck with all your bets, and we'll see you right back here on the Covers YouTube channel for all of the Week 5 NFL action.